Good evening, good afternoon. I'm Vashti McKenzie. I'm your moderator for Selah, the Home Edition. I get excited every time it's a Monday and it's time for Selah because I have an opportunity to share with you, to listen to an expert who's going to resource us big time. In fact, I am just relishing from last night. If you missed Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight, those two queens came on and just sang my heart. We danced, we laughed, we joked. This is great. Now we get a chance to talk about some other things with a fabulous person, Chelsea Hayes from the Coach Factory. So get yourselves ready. I need you to check in now, ladies. I need you to check in. Tell me where you're coming from, what city, what state, what organization, what group, your company, your church, come on, your sorority, come on, Delta's in the house. Let's see some hearts up in here. Some Zetas, come on, Sigma Gamma Rhos. Where are you from? 10th District, 12th District. Where are you from? You're from Maryland, you're from Houston, from California, wherever you're from. This is your check-in moment, so we know that you're in the room. I'm just really also excited. Not only last night was Queen Night, but we had our Selah house party. And Reverend Jazz will come along a little later on to tell us about some of the things that happened. We just ending our Selah Summer Walk, and we've had women who have walked not only 100 miles through the summer, 200 miles through the summer, but two of our Selah women did 400 miles. Can you imagine that? Listen, I did real good to get up. I think I got about 10 miles. I got 10 miles, but that's more than I did before. So we're going to hear about the winners, hear about the prizes, hear about the Selah house party, and we're going to have some good conversation about increasing our influence, our believability, our boldability, our bankability, yes, and our melanin popping. Now, before we begin, present our presenter to you and you get a chance to get to know her, I want you to take a look at this video. I want you to just take a peek at it. This is where we take our deep breath. This is our pause and our centering moment. It's a Monday, so you've already been through a big day, right? So this is our pause and our centering moment, and just take a look at this video.
Are you willing to disrupt any form of what you know? Are you willing? Are you willing to reinvent yourself? Are you willing? Are you willing to become someone you've never seen before? Are you willing to run, leap, and soar, even at the possibility that you might fall? Are you willing? Are you willing to do something you've never done before, say something you've never said before, do the things you don't want to do, say the things you don't want to say, so that you can be the man, the woman you've always known yourself to be? Are you willing? See, I didn't come here to give you a lot of answers. I came here to disrupt your soul with a lot of right questions. Because I wasn't supposed to be here. I was that kid that was always struggling with self-esteem. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? No one looks like me, makes it anywhere. I'm chocolate, mocha skin, full lips, round hips, and kinky hair. You just don't see me on TV. You don't see me glorified. You don't see me representing beauty. You don't see me. So the world didn't give me permission to be here. But I didn't ask for it either. So some of you are still asking for permission. And sometimes you have to stop asking for permission, and it's just time to give the world notice. So I just showed up to invite you to give the world notice that you're coming. Give the world notice that you've been here. Give the world notice that you played polite long enough. Now it's time to play full out. Give the world notice that unapologetic just showed up. Give the world notice that non-negotiable just showed up. Give the world notice that if they can't handle your light, that you're tired, you're no longer going to dim your light. If they can't handle your light, put on some shades. Because when you become that bold, when you become that audacious, when you become that unapologetic, all of a sudden you become infectious. All of a sudden, just the mere glimmer of you, when I can catch a glimpse of you, when I can get in your hemisphere, in your atmosphere, in your zip code, something happens to me because I'm in proximity. And then you become absolutely aware of the true assignment on your life. That you were here to save us. You are here to inspire us by the way you walk with assistance, by the way you rise above your own uncertainty, by the way you push past your religious conversation, your cultural conversation, your economic conversation, your gender conversation, by the way you show up and say, how can I serve humanity? So what is your quest? It might just be to go home and be 1,000% present with your children. Your quest might be to love an unlovable sibling. Like, it might be that. I'm a girl who, as a mom in 1995, I was broke and broken. And all I was committed to do was not spend the next 25 years in that brokenness. So I didn't decide my quest out of a pursuit of serving the world in a big way. I stepped into my quest becoming committed that I won't have it that way anymore. So however you step, just step. However you step, just step. Sometimes you gotta step out of something before you're stepping into something. Just step. Don't get paralysis of the analysis trying to make sure the step is right. I'd rather you take 10 steps wrong than analyze trying to make one step right one more day while someone's waiting to be inspired by you. I'm still figuring out how to get it right, but I've done some good work trying to figure out how to get it right. One day I'm gonna master this thing. One day. So I just stopped by to stir your soul. I stopped by to not let you off the hook of your brilliance, of your genius, of your humanity, of the willingness to live in a constant duality, allowing your brilliance and your confusion to coexist, and you embrace them both. Not waiting for another thing, not waiting for another person, not waiting for any permission, not waiting for someone to validate you, not waiting for your mother, your father to say you're okay, not waiting for the man, the woman in your life to say, go be free, not waiting. What are you waiting?
And what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Unapologetically, Selah. Yeah. Serve, notice, step by step, not waiting to be chosen, but you choose to create and take that step. So what are you waiting on? Is this going to be one day or is this going to be day one? You make the choice. And guess who's going to help us make that choice? One day or day one is Chelsea C. Hayes. She's our guest today. She is CEO and principal consultant of the Coaching Factory out of Los Angeles. That is in LA. She is an innovative corporate trainer and development firm specializing in interactive experiences for Fortune 500 companies, big time, on inclusion, leadership, and management. That's Chelsea Hayes. Her clients include General Mills, Eli Lilly, Morgan and Stanley, Turner Construction. And prior to founding the Coaching Factory, she was director of HR at LA Sparks after launching her career, reporting directly to the chief diversity officer of General Electric. Big time. Yes, she's educated, prepared, 2 bachelor's degrees, and she keeps going on and on and on and on. And she was a global officer of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and is currently a member of the Los Angeles Alumni Chapter. Come on, Chelsea, come on into the room. Say hello to everybody at Selah.
Hi, Bishop. How are you this evening?
I am fine. Absolutely wonderful. Awesome. And so are you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. When you called me, I was in disbelief. I text Joy, those of you who are joining and who don't know her beautiful daughters, happy birthday, Jazz. I text Joy and I said, Joy, your mom texted me. She has my cell phone number. She called me. And Joy said, I'm so happy to hear that. What day are you doing Selah? And so my mind is blown, Bishop, and to have you introducing me tonight, my heart is just on the moon. I want to thank you for trusting me with something so big, so precious. I'm really looking forward to tonight.
And I'm looking forward to the teaching. And you are awesome. You are all in your awesomeness. You are unapologetically Chelsea. You have already served notice on the world and you're already occupying your space. That's Selah, occupying your space. So you have come to share some things with us. I'm happy you said yes. I think I said that about 3 times in our emails back and forth. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for saying yes. So help us, Chelsea. Help us move from one day. It's going to be one day to this is day one of my new me.
Yes, yes, Bishop. I will always say yes to you, firstly. Secondly, I'm going to take us into some content to talk about increasing your sphere of influence. But before I do that, I want to be very clear. I see a lot of women. We have some very powerful women, very influential women who are here in the comments. And I can see you, and I want you to know something. I want you to know that we're so happy you're here, that this is not a space where you have to perform or strive at all. Many of us here have been on Zooms all day with people who don't look like us. And I want you to know that this space Bishop created for you to win, for you to reign. And so we're a guest in her house today. And I just want you to know that wherever you are in this moment, you're enough. You don't have to change anything about yourself. We're all coming together as sisters to lift up and empower one another. I also want you to know that God created every single detail of you, and he's obsessed with you. And we are obsessed with being here to serve you and to lift you up. So please ask us questions. I cannot be in the chat because I'm going to share my screen shortly, but I'm going to take a little break, and then Bishop and I will come back together and we will answer some of your questions. So please talk with us, yell at us, shout at us, interact with us. We love you and welcome, welcome. Team, I'm going to share my screen here. All right. So this is the screen. I'm going to just go back really quickly to make sure everyone can see it, and then I will share it more fully. Type in the chat that you can see the screen. And then I will leave you and go back. Tech team, let me know that we can see it okay, and I will proceed. Once I hear a voice that we can see it, I'll keep going, but I want to make sure everyone can see the screen. Saw it. Okay, I see one saw it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and jump into content. My assistant, Sora Kirsten, is on. She's texting me. We can see. Go for it. All right. I want to thank you all for joining us today. As Bishop mentioned, I get to do this all day long, talk to people all over the world who are at very big corporate companies about inclusion, leadership, and management. I would be remiss if I did not also recognize Deb Elam, who is on the call. She is a soror out of New Orleans. She was my very first boss ever. I reported directly to her. And when I tell you that experience changed my life, I got to follow her all over the world and look at what it means to serve people at work, especially hundreds of thousands of people. Deb, I would not be in this position without you. I love you. I honor you. Thank you for joining us tonight. So today, here's what we're going to talk about. How do I increase my sphere of influence? What does that mean? Well, I hear people, they'll say, Chelsea, well, how do I get people to buy my product? Or maybe it's how do I get people to hire me for a very specific opportunity? Or sometimes people say, how do I get people to follow me? How do I get more followers? And I stop right there. I want to stop and take a second. When people say that, Chelsea, how do I get more followers? The very first question I ask is, why do you want more followers? And if you had them, where would you be taking them? Why do you want more? And if you had them, where would you be taking them? We have to take a step back and ask ourselves, what role does social media play in my life? And if I were, let's just pretend to say I had 5 million followers, how would that benefit me financially? And sometimes people say, well, I don't really have a website, but I figure I can get lots of followers, then I can build one. And I say, you got to have somewhere to put people. You need to have something to sell them. You got to make sure you're selling it the right way. All of those things we think about before we think about followers. So again, we're talking about how do I increase my sphere of influence? What does that look like? Sometimes people say, how do I get people to hire me? How do I get people to follow me? How do I get people to trust me? How do I get people to like me? But here's one I want to venture to, team, today. I love this quote by Robert Madu. He says, worry is often the byproduct of asking the wrong questions. These are not questions that are going to lead us to joy. They're not questions that are going to lead us to bigger bank accounts. They're not questions that are going to lead us to deeper emotional connections with the people in our lives that matter. These questions are going to lead to worry. Okay, so the questions we need to ask instead look like this. Do you like you? Not how do I get people to like me, but do you like you? What problem do you want to solve? And why are you the best one to solve it? Why are you the best one to solve it? These questions will take us somewhere worth going, okay? So I want to also cover the difference between power versus influence. The use of power diminishes others, and the use of influence enlarges them. It's one of the thought leaders I love named Jonathan Sachs, and that tells us, people say, oh, this person's very powerful, but power really means I make other people feel smaller. Influence means I make other people feel bigger. Everywhere I go, I'm pointing out things that other people do well. That's the difference between power, making other people smaller, and influence, making other people bigger. And that's the goal. That's what we want. We want to be influential leaders. All right, so let's talk about this. How do I make my footprint bigger? How do I do this? I have 4 steps we're going to go through. I'm going to go through steps 1 and 2, and then I'll come back, and Bishop Vashti and I are going to chat with you a little bit, and then we'll go through 3 and 4. So step 1, we have to acknowledge and release fear, perfectionism, and comparison. I know many of you on the call are proponents of therapy. Therapy is one of the most powerful things that we can do, especially as women. If you are not comfortable saying the words, I feel fear, or I'm afraid, or I'm feeling X, that's a problem. We have to get comfortable saying when we feel fear. And we have to get comfortable saying, this is what I'm afraid of, and this is how I'm going to get through that. Okay. And perfectionism is so hard. I'm not sure that we all realize this, but experts say that we'll spend about 5 years of our lives on social media. The average adult will spend 5 years of their life on social. And that is a big number. For me, I didn't feel like it was healthy for me. It wasn't productive for me. So I had to start to limit how much time I was spending, because sometimes that can lead to comparison. And one of the most important things in life we learned really, really young in kindergarten, when they say, keep your eyes on your own paper. Keep your eyes on your own paper. So it's really important we don't compare. I want to take a quick second and talk about this idea of fear. We're not together very long today, but I do want to teach you some tools that you can use today, tools you can use with your team that will help us dig into this idea of fear so we can feel it, acknowledge it, release it, and move forward. Let's talk about fear. When I experience fear, my response most closely resembles. So I'm going to go through 4 animals here that I think you'll be able to see yourself and see the people that you work with and see perhaps even your children or your significant others. The first one is an eagle. I feel it, I face it, I want to talk about it, overcome it, and then I'm going to declare I'm an overcomer. That's an eagle. That's how I feel fear. I want to feel it and face it and talk about it and declare. Spider. Maybe you feel fear and then you reach out to close friends and you say, is my fear rational? This is what I'm feeling. And then you might weave a web of information and reemerge based on the feedback that you got. Maybe you're a spider. Or maybe you're a cheetah. You feel fear and you run away. You're like, nope, this is not for me. I'm not feeling this. I hate this. And then you run away fast. You might return to address your fears, but your initial reaction is to fly away and go like a cheetah. And finally, maybe you're a hippo. Maybe you sit and you wait until the fear disappears, because we know that this too shall pass. Which one are you? And also, is there an unlisted animal that resembles your response? Feel free to put that in the chat, talk with each other, interact with each other. I've had people say, I have one client who say, I'm a peacock. And she says, I get really dressed up when I know I'm about to encounter fear because it makes me feel better. So I'm a peacock. So whatever you can think of, this is an interactive tool so that we can discern how we feel fear and what happens. Now, quick spoiler alert. However you feel fear, A lot of experts recommend journaling about it, or reading books about it, or writing down, making lists about why you should overcome it, why you're ready for whatever is causing you to feel fear. But let me tell you something. God really gave us a hack. The quickest way that humans overcome fear is from other humans. So if I know that Kirsten is feeling afraid about her presentation, and I pull her inside and say, Kirsten, you went to Spelman, you graduated top of your class, you have a master's in fine art, you got this. I'm gonna be right there, text me when you're done. That's how humans overcome fear. That right there. So all of us on this call, we have to be that for each other. That's the quickest way. It's the most simple way. So I want us to remember, how can we be that for other people? And how can we accept that comforting when we need it as well? I can't wait to go back to the chat to see what kind of animals you all are putting in there. Step 2. So we're going to get through step 2, and then I'm going to come back in the room so Bishop and I can connect with you. Step 2 to increasing your sphere of influence. You have to identify and proclaim your competitive advantage. What makes you different? If you can't say what makes you different, no one else will be able to. No one else will be. And that's scary, because some people say, well, I feel tongue-tied. I said, okay, well, if you feel tongue-tied, everyone's going to feel tongue-tied when they say, why should we hire Alyssa? You have to be able to identify and proclaim your competitive advantage. Remember, you don't have to have all of the answers in life. You just have to have one. You just have to be really, really good at one thing. One thing. So I think we have to take the pressure off of ourselves and say, what's the one thing that I'm really good at? What can I do better than most people? When do people pull me aside and ask for help? What story am I telling about myself? And how successful am I at telling it? Now, team, this is so, so big, because sometimes people think they're telling one story and everyone listening is like, oh, this is awful. When is this going to stop, right? So we have to make sure that we're self-aware about what story are we telling and how good am I at telling it. Scott Cook, who's the founder of Intuit, he has a quote that I love. He said, a brand is no longer what we tell consumers it is what consumers tell each other that it is. I'm going to repeat that. A brand is no longer what we tell consumers it is what consumers tell each other that it is. So if I say I'm Chelsea and I'm kind and I work hard, that really doesn't mean anything. What matters is if I survey the 3 people closest to me who work with me and touch my hands on a daily basis, what type of leader do they say that I am? What do they say about how I lead? What do they say about my areas of opportunity? So I want to take a second, and sometimes people say, well, how do I know what stories are important to tell about myself? At the Coaching Factory, we use an acronym called SCORE, and I want to share that with you as we wrap up point 2. This is how you can identify your big 3 stories. Think about a time in your life where you sacrificed something. When did you give something up? Because all of us on this call have given something up to get where we are. When's a time where you sacrificed? The C is for choice. When did you make a choice? You could go down road A, you could go down road B, and this is what you chose and why. Obstacle. When did you encounter an obstacle in your life? And what did that mean for you? What types of obstacles have you overcome? I'm going to share a story with you all. I've only shared this once before on a Google chat, I think maybe a couple weeks ago. I saw there were lots of sorors in the chat before we started, so I know this is a safe place for me. So I want to be sure to share a personal story with you on my journey. I started this company in 2014, not because I thought, hey, I'm from the Bay Area, I want to be an entrepreneur. Nope, it was another soror, our honorary member, Soror Paula Madison, who pulled me aside and said, you can do this. And I said, do what? I like working for people. I don't have an issue. She said, but you can do this on your own. So I started the company. The company did pretty well. And then we got to a point where business was going well, but I had never really run my own thing before. And so what we ran into was a cash flow issue. So we literally had hundreds of thousands of dollars out in invoices. And those of you who have businesses, I can feel your energy. I can feel you sending it to me. And then we had no cash. So I knew, okay, 30, 60, 90 days, we're going to be fine. But right now we are not fine. And I started to experience a lot of anxiety. I started to be very ashamed of myself. I said, I went to Northwestern. How is it that I can't pay my rent? How does that happen? I come from a middle-class family. I've always saved money. How did this happen? And I stopped myself and I said, God is trying to teach me something. There has to be a reason why this is happening. I have a lot of pride. So, that must be what he's getting at here. So I picked up the phone and I called my older sister. She's a marketing executive at Smucker's. She's on the Uncrustables brand. She's very big time. And I told her what was going on. And I said, I can't pay my rent. And she said, that's okay. I'm going to wire you the money. We don't ever have to talk about it again. What you're experiencing is okay. God is going to use this for your story. And I said, okay. She sent the money. And no less than 7 days later, all of the invoices, 260,000 of it, came in. So that taught me so many things, but the most important thing is that if you're feeling ashamed about something, God is going to keep working in you. He's going to keep digging in you until you don't feel shame anymore, because every single thing that I have is from him. And so I just want to share that with you, to any business owners who are on this call. No matter what you're experiencing, you're not alone. No matter what it looks like, it's not that. No matter what it feels like, you can bounce back. And I want you to stay the course. So that was a very significant obstacle that I experienced. And I think a lot of women experience shame around stuff like that. And I just want to free anybody who's on this call. And I think Stacey Abrams did such a great job with that in 2018. And so I'm so excited about what's to come and to hear your stories as well. The R is for risk. When is a time in your life where you took a really, really big risk? When is a time? And then the E is for experience. Perhaps you've experienced something that is different or unique, or you've worked overseas, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and come on back to the group. I'm going to come back. I'm going to press escape and come back. Bishop, will you join us back in the room? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can chat a little bit. I want to answer your questions. I can see you, but I can't hear you, Bishop.
There we go. Okay. I said, no, I enjoyed. Thank you. The teaching is wonderful because the things that you're sharing cross so many lines. It's corporate, it's community, it's civic, it is congregational. These are, nuggets that if you grab them, you can apply them. And so what I'm hearing, of course, in the chat, they're cheetahs, they're hippos, they're elephants, all kinds of things that you didn't even mention, but they're all in there. They're eagles, they're all in there. Every animal species is whatever there. But you know what I keep hearing over and over again was that influence is more about others than it is about you. Mm-hmm. Because I keep hearing you say, this is what you can share with your team. This is what you share with your team. If you want to know 3 close friends who touch you and see you and whatever. So I'm getting this message that this journey in life is not a solo performance.
It is not a solo performance. And one thing we always say is if you can do your job alone, you are doing it wrong. You're doing it very wrong. If you want to have an influential life, you're going to have to give more than you receive. You're going to be inconvenienced a lot. You're going to be up very late. You're going to be up very early for things that you think don't benefit you. But the way that God works is it's always benefiting you. And the sooner that you realize that, the better it is. And I think I forgot a very important piece of that story. I think I should also share that my older sister, who happened to fill that gap at the time, is now the general manager of my company. And so to have that go full circle, we bless God for what that means and for the testimony that we have as 2 Black and Chinese women who get to travel this world owning our own. And so I see you, my cousin Cassandra and Cynthia, and I see y'all in the chat. I love y'all. Hey, Joy, I love you so much, sis. But Bishop, I agree. You can't do this alone. And the other piece that I don't think I knew until recently is when you start to solve very big problems or even very confidential problems, Most of the leaders I work with, they're up really early, Bishop. I mean, like 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. early. And I learned that started working for Deb and then for Paula. And they're up early. If you want to get your hands on the really hot off the press stuff, you need to be responsive, and you need to be responsive early, because if they can't get you, they're going to go to somebody else who will respond. And that's just how that works.
Say that again.
That's how it works.
It is true. I'm up. Of course, I have staff, a team, and they know. They've gotten a break over the last couple of days. I said, at least I didn't call you. I called you after 6. At least I gave you a break. I called you after 6 and not before. But once we know that you're up, once we know that you're part of that early morning crowd, we're going to have conversation. Well, people don't understand that by the time you get to 8 o'clock, when you're supposed to be in the office, or 9 o'clock, when you're supposed to be, we've already set the day. We've already solved the problem. We've done with today. Actually, Monday was over on Sunday, and we're working on Tuesday. Okay, we're in our annual conference season, and someone texted me and says, "Well, okay, annual conference begins tomorrow. How you feeling? How you feeling about how's it gonna go? Whatever." So, well, you don't know really how it's gonna go, but my brain is already at the next annual conference. Now, so early morning is an excellent start. So talk to us about risk, because having a check that shows up regularly, all right, is a whole lot different than starting out in your own business, being an entrepreneur. And I think I read a statistic recently that the fastest growing group in the United States of entrepreneurs are Black women.
Yes.
And so it's really hard to take that deep breath and say, okay, I'm going to go out here. But it's really kind of nice to say, I know on the 1st and the 15th it's going to show up.
Yes. So there are a lot of levels to what you've unpacked, Bishop. And the first one is, anyone who's thinking of starting a business, you got to start something that you cannot live without. So some people are like, well, I kind of like selling socks. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a hard journey for you if you kind of like selling socks. You really got to love it. You really have to believe in it so that other people believe in it as well. And the other thing about money is, money comes when you're operating in who you are and who you were created to be. That will come. Now, the trick is really discerning if you're in that lane that you were created to be in. That's going to come from listening to people who are smarter than you. So everyone on my team, way smarter than me, way older than me. I'm not even 30 yet. So I'm like, I bless God. I don't know the answer to this, but I know I have someone in my circle that does know. So the quickest way to stop yourself from financial ruin is to get people around you who will tell you, I think this is a good idea. And then take advice from people whose life looks like something that you like and something that you admire and something that means something to you.
Yes. Let me pause for a second and thank all of the Selah women, and we have some allies who are here, some brothers, because they're chatting too. They're chatting in the chat. So
we need you. We need you. We love you. We honor you. Yes.
And so, well, we're getting great nuggets, but I need to stop to say, I need you to share this on your page. Right now, go ahead and share it and put it on your Facebook page so that others who are not in this conversation will have an opportunity to join us. We don't want anybody to miss this at all. So please share this on your Facebook page. If you are on YouTube, just send a message to somebody and put the link in and say, y'all go to YouTube and watch it there, because we want everybody to get all this good stuff from Chelsea and the Coaching Factory today. Above me, you see that there is a Cash App, because we like to be a blessing to those who come and share with us. And we've got a whole bunch of good things that are coming up. And I think Jasmine is waiting in the wings.
Hey, everybody.
Happy birthday, Jazz. Woo!
Thank you. All right. So I bring you greetings on my birthday tonight, Selah women. As you know, we have a great time per usual. And so we're just excited to see you tonight. Yes, I would love to say that this is only for my birthday, but I know that you're here to hear Chelsea and Bishop. So I'm going to just give you some brief announcements and then move right out of the way. But first and foremost, just picking up where Bishop left off, come on and support Selah. Come on, you have received so much content at home, and the only way that we're able to do that is if you support Selah. If everyone who's watching tonight just gave $1, $5, whatever you can give at whatever level you can give tonight, we would be so honored and be able to bless those and actually invite others to come to Selah. So honestly, Selah is sponsored and brought to you by you, those who watch each and every single or every other Monday. And the way that you can support tonight, of course, is Cash App. Or if you desire to give in a way that you're not Cash App ready and you would like to have a link sent to you, I'm going to go ahead and put in the comments our email address, and that way you can email us and we can send you, as Chelsea mentioned earlier, an invoice so that you can go ahead and support Selah Leadership Encounters. And so that email is up there on the screen tonight so that you can receive at whatever level you would love to give tonight. But of course, you know, we have just a few announcements to share with you as well. The next Selah is in 2 weeks from now. We're going to keep it a surprise, but you already know, those of you who are belonging to the Selah VIP online group, you always get the notices first. So if you are not a part of that group, if you are a woman, because it's only for women, sorry to our allies, you want to go ahead and join that group. The way you can find it is on Facebook only, and it's Selah Leadership VIP online group. Go ahead and click that join button and we'll let you right on in. Just wanted to let you know that Bishop will also be a special guest on April Ryan's COVID conversation. So you don't want to miss that. That's going to be on Monday, September the 21st. It's from 5 to 6 p.m. And then, of course, follow us on over at the Facebook group. I want to also share with you another event that is taking place tomorrow at 3 p.m. Bishop will be on Jarena Telling Our Story, Jarena's Daughters. That is sponsored by the AME Church Department of Research and Scholarship. And you can find that conversation on Facebook as well as Zoom. And so I want you to go ahead and take advantage of those opportunities, as well as wanted to share with you, for those of you who missed it, we had an amazing time at the Selah at Home party. So this is what you missed, ladies. If you didn't get to join us, you missed an amazing time. We had over 200 women join us on Zoom, each from our own respective homes. We decorated our tables. We dressed up. We had an amazing time. And of course, we have Marcus D. Wiley come and bring the funny live. He performed live. We were in stitches. We had a great time. We were able to just share and love on each other, just how sisters do. And so we just appreciate each and every single one of you who do support Selah at Home and all of the leadership encounters that Bishop McKenzie brings forth to you. As you know, we are always creating opportunities to join together. And so I just wanted to share that with you tonight. Thank you for joining me for my birthday. I'm going to turn it over to Bishop now. Once I find the button, hold by, stand by.
Well, happy birthday, Jazz. And we're originally from the East Coast, so crabs and seafood is just a part of our DNA. And there is a big pot of crab legs and all kinds of good seafood waiting on the table for her in a little while. And so we're going to come back and have some more conversation with Chelsea. And, one of the things, don't forget to say hi and let Chelsea know where you're from. We're looking for your questions. Please make sure your questions come up in the chat so that Chelsea can, answer those questions directly for you. Those are the one thing I think we forgot. Pam Davis of her.
Yes, let me go ahead and bring her on now so she could talk about the winners, the walkers of Selah Summer. Let's go ahead and talk to her now.
Hi, Pam. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Bishop?
I'm doing great. Pam is an awesome Salem woman. She started out 3 years ago with Selah, and she is an entrepreneur, and she knows everything that she is familiar to what Chelsea's talking about when she made the leap into entrepreneurship. She was our coordinator of our Selah Summer Walk. We started out in June with a commitment to try to walk 100 miles. And so I did 10. Come on, give me a hand. Come on, I did 10. I did do 10, right? I did do 10, praise God. But Pam, please tell us who our winners are and how far they walked from the end of June to Labor Day?
All right. Thank you, Bishop. We had about 11 women who walked more than 100 miles. Susan Anthony Price walked 483 miles.
Woohoo!
Tony Beelan Ingram walked 465 miles.
Woohoo!
Cheryl Jones walked 297 miles.
All right, all right.
Donna Baker walked 225 miles.
I'm gonna show these ladies some love here.
Tammy Hanna walked 221 miles.
Woo!
Daniela Bailey walked 202 miles.
There you go.
And then the following ladies walked more than 100. Lakeisha Diaz, Lynette Patterson, Carla Cooper, Heidi Barham, and Janet Khalil.
All right, let's show some hands and some hearts. And for walking, not only did they get their heart rate, their blood pressure under control, whatever the weight, exercising the brain, the body, doing all of that, they also walked away with some prizes. You want to tell them what they got?
Sure, they all got pieces of Grace and Heart jewelry, and if they walked more than 200 miles, they received 2 pieces. And I allowed some of the women to be able to choose some pieces they wanted. Things have been shipped, but these are some examples. Our Delta earrings.
Thank you for my pair. Even though I didn't make 100 miles, I got a pair of earrings for at least making a good effort.
So these are our Delta earrings. We had another Selah women get the Pearly Path earrings. These are mother of pearl and sterling silver. We had a pearl bracelet called Celeste. We had another bracelet, Foley's bracelet. We've had another silver bracelet called Bauble bracelet. So all kinds of Grace and Heart sterling silver jewelry, which is 0.25 sterling silver. Some had Swarovski crystals, some had pearls. So women are receiving jewelry all over the country.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for making the donation. And I hope Selah women, we always strive to feature Black women entrepreneurs and business owners, and Pam Davis is one of them. And so we try to support each other. So please look her up. She's going to put her information in the chat. And congratulations. She also donated some prizes for the house party. And of course, we played some games. And Tawny Haynes, Pam Davis, and Atia out of Atlanta donated wonderful gifts. And those of you who won, you're going to be getting them in the mail. So thank you, Pam. We want to bring Chelsea back because we want to complete our conversation. And one of the hardest things, Chelsea, for us to do is to close the door on one thing and open the door on another. Help.
Yes, absolutely, Bishop. I'll take us back to finish up our content, and then we'll come back and have some chatting between you and I and answer some questions. Hey, Sora Pam, it was great to see you. And Reverend Jasmine, you looking wonderful on your birthday, girlfriend. We're so happy to see you. All right, team, let's head to finish up our content so we can answer some questions. All righty. Staying tuned from my assistant that we can all see it. We see you. All right, I got the text. And here we go to number 3. Step 3, determine where to focus your energy. So remember, we're talking about how to increase your sphere of influence. Where am I going to focus my energy? A lot of people will come to me and they say, Chelsea, I know you work with companies, but can I ask you a quick question? And I say, sure. And they say, well, I'm really good at swimming instructing, and I'm good at baking, and I'm good at folding socks, and I'm really good at leading my church group. And I don't know where to focus my energy. I can do so many things. I don't know what to do. And I first thank them for sharing so much of themselves and their heart with me. And then I say this, they have to remember that a confused mind will always say no. So if they have all these things in their mind, even if they think they're talking to someone who can help them with just one of those, let's say the baking part, starting a bakery, they're confused internally, and that's going to come out externally. So we have to do the inner work first to say, where am I going to focus my energy? Where am I going to focus myself? I work with clients, mostly organizations, but I do have 2 Black female CEO clients that I love. And when I work with them, I make sure that they're spending their time where they need to be spending their time, because here's why. they only have one brain. So if they tell me they're spending 60% of their day working on one thing, I make sure that that 60% is making them money, because they're the asset, right? The client is the asset. Sometimes it can seem crass to think about it like that, but it's true. You are the same way. You only have one brain. And so we have to be very careful with where we're spending our time, our ideas, our thoughts, and what does that mean in terms of output? You may be saying, okay, Chelsea, but I still have so many things I'm good at. How do I know where to plant my foot? And here's the answer to that question. If tomorrow were your last day on earth, what would be left unaccomplished, undone, that would make you feel sad? What would you be saying? I didn't get a chance to do this. This is what I wanted to do, and I didn't get a chance to do that. Whatever is in your mind right now, go after that. Now, with that being said, many of us have extenuating circumstances, parents that we're caring for, or children that require a high level of attention, etc., that may keep us from pursuing that particular thing. And that's okay too. I understand that. But there are also many of us who don't have anything tethering and we're just too afraid. I want you to take this as your sign to stop being afraid. All of us have felt fear. Do it anyway. I'm hoping that there are questions in the chat and that Bishop and I can tackle some of those together as soon as we finish number 4. Okay, here's step number 4. Then you secure clients and long-term champions. Now, we only have a little bit of time together, so of course this is a turbo way we're turbo speeding through this, but I want to give you some tips in terms of how to secure clients and long-term champions. The first thing is performance. You gotta be tip top. If you say that something is going to be turned in by close of business on East Coast time, it needs to be in. Just not missing those. That matters. It matters. Every single call, every single touch point matters. Remember, it just takes one. So many times people say, how do you work with such big companies? And I say, I just take it one at a time. I happen to be speaking at General Mills and there's 500 in the audience. That means that I've got 1,000 people that I'm speaking to, because if each of the 500 has one person that they care about, like a significant other or a spouse or a friend, and they share that something I said changed their lives, then that's just easy marketing, right? Remember, it just takes one to build your clientele. It takes one conversation, one deal, one opportunity. So remember that. Ask for the endorsement. Ask. So many times, we don't have it because we don't ask. Ask for the endorsement. Do a great job and ask them for that testimonial. Don't be afraid. There's no magic way that people get testimonials on their site. You have to do a great job, then you have to ask for it. And ask for what you want. Whatever you think should be a part of your contract that is within reason, that makes sense, that's good for the business and good for the client, ask for what you want. Sometimes we don't know what makes sense, but then once we get to a certain point in our careers, we say, oh, this makes sense to have in my contract. I'm going to add it. Ask for what you want. Quite some time ago, I only fly first class. That is in my contract. And I was probably the last time I flew. I was flying home from a bank in the Bahamas, and there was an older gentleman who was white. He was in his 60s. And he said, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Sure." And he said, "I am so surprised to see you sitting in first class." And of course, my first instinct was not words that we're going to use on the internet today. But my second one was, he has a gentle spirit. He's really trying to understand something here. And I said back to him, I said, "Tell me more about why you feel that way." And we ended up talking. Turns out he owns one of the top 5 insurance companies in the world. And we ended up talking about his beliefs and mine. And he started asking me questions about inclusion and diversity. And we're actually friends now. So sometimes people just don't know. And that's not to say that we have to hold space for everybody that doesn't know, because we don't have to. But I had time today. So ask for what you want. Ask and give pricing help. Many times when we've submitted a bid, there has been someone on the other end who happened to be a woman or an ally, and they've picked up the phone and said, "Hey, we just got a bid from someone else who it's not making any sense at all. We want you, but your bid is $10,000 lower than theirs. Change your bid." So there are good people doing business still and doing business the right way. Trust that if you build a product that works, that there are people who will protect you. We talked about this earlier. Give more than you take. Invest in yourself first. I want to take a second to talk about this invest in yourself first. Of course, I know that in past Selahs, because I've watched some of these amazing talks, they've talked about the importance of exercising, but there's also some inner work that each of us have to do. And I'm coming back to you, Bishop, for Q&A. There's some inner work that each of us have to do when we think about our lives. All of us inside of us have had people tell us things. Those people can make us think that we're closer to our dreams than we think, or that we're further away from our dreams than we think. I want you to take inventory of those right now, both groups of those people, and I want you to journal about it. Who are the people who made me feel close to my dreams? Who are the people who told me I was far away, right? Because sometimes we don't uncover those things until we're so late in life, but if we think about that now, we can reverse some of that negative thinking. We can reverse generational curses. My mother, I saw my mommy in the chat, my mom is on, and my mother is a psychotherapist, and from a very young age, she said, hey, look at me. You can do this. You are the head and not the tail. You're above and never below. You are the lender, not the borrower. You will win. She wouldn't even let us wear black because she said that we were going to light up the world. When you talk to your children like that, that is how they see themselves. So I just want to say on this call that each of you are so, so worthy. So we're going to have some time to do Q&A now. Bishop and I are going to tackle that together. I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to a robust Q&A session. Bishop, I'm coming back to you.
Great, Chelsea. This is marvelous. Words matter. Words absolutely matter. And so what you say to others and what you say to yourself matters in how you handle yourself, handle your business, whether you work for someone else or you're working for yourself. I share sometimes that either you're working on your dream or you're working on the dream of somebody else. And so thank you for sharing all of that. Words do matter. The world has changed overnight. In a matter of less than 8 months, the whole outlook of how we work and what we do and what we think has really changed. So what does that mean for business persons, entrepreneurs, those who work for other people? What have you seen change, and how does that impact us, and how can we work with that?
Sure. Well, I know all of us on this call are in different industries, so I'll give a blanket answer. One thing is people are realizing, especially CEOs and leaders, they're realizing they can no longer skirt around the subject of race and privilege. And so also they're getting more vocal about the type of talent that they want. So if you are a woman of color, a BIPOC, right, Black, Indigenous person of color who's on this call, I want you to know the ball has always been in your court, and it's in your court now more than ever. Go after what you want. And I think that this is, despite the fact that we're in a pandemic, there are companies who are really resilient and they want to hire us. So I think we have to encourage each other to take that step.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now, some of us, and they're not all asking questions in the chat, unfortunately, but they're texting me. Y'all are supposed to ask the question in the chat, not text me the question.
What they texting you, Bishop? Let me know.
All right. What they're texting is, how do I find a support group? How do I get a team? How do I find a team, and what is the best way to identify persons to be that you would choose to be on your team?
So a couple things that have helped me get a team. The first thing is say yes when someone asks you for help, because I've had a lot of people say, Chelsea, can you talk to this X person? And then I do, and I end up saying, oh my goodness, this is my social media coordinator. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, can you do this? And I say, oh my goodness, this is the exact person I want. So say yes to the meetings, even if you think, oh, this is another thing that might come out for me. Say yes to helping people. That's the same if you have a brand that you feel like is a little bit shaky or you've made some mistakes. Help other people. It's the quickest way to reverse your brand. And the other thing is ask for what you want. Sometimes people say, I can't find blah, blah, blah. I said, well, did you post about it? Did you ask your friends who have wide social networks to post about it? Are you willing to pay for it? Sometimes there's just one piece that's off, Bishop, and it's really an easy fix, but ask for what you need and people will help you. So many times people don't know what you need. They can't read your mind and they're not in your house.
Absolutely. The other question is, yes, I have friends that I would trust in a friend relationship, but not in a business relationship.
Ooh, child.
I'll text back. That was a good question there.
Then follow your gut. Keep them separate. Keep them separate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know how to do business the right way, and that's okay, but you can't be a part of my business. And that doesn't make me mean or you mean. It just means it's not a match.
Mhm,
Mhm,
mhm.
mhm.
Getting the right people on the bus and then getting them in the right seat that's
Mm.
on the bus. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How do you handle? I think you already answered this question, but this is similar to the first class. How do you handle how do you handle the men who don't accept your femaleness?
You know what, Bishop? I really believe that women are the most powerful beings on this planet. I really believe God created us special, and I see my womanness as an asset to me, and I use it for my good. There are men who have been, I can give an example. I work with Turner Construction, which has been an amazing experience. They're building the new LA Ram Stadium, and they were very honest with me. We had a 7-month courting process before they brought me on board as their trainer, and they said, Chelsea, we've never had a woman of color trainer before, but we do like you. And I said, thanks for being honest with me. So sometimes they will tell you that they're trying to do something new, and I think you have to be patient, keep clear boundaries, and there were people inside the company who said, okay, Chelsea, you got to wear this. You got to wear closed-toed shoes. And so be okay with getting that feedback when you step into different worlds. And I think that whatever you're looking for, you will find. So if you're looking for, oh, this man doesn't like me, he doesn't want me, you're going to find it. But if you're looking and saying, God, I know that you're good and you've gone before me and you sent angels into this place to help me win, you will find it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so your faith and your work life are not separate.
They can't be.
They all together.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer and fasting works.
Yes.
Pray before the meeting.
Yes.
Pray before the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Pray over your proposal before you submit it.
Yes.
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 And then ask God to identify the people where you are, who will be your allies, even in faith, but also allies in your work relationship.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And there's a quote that I love by Howard Thurman, a theologian. I want to share it with you all. It says, the power of prayer is directly connected to your willingness to be a part of God's answer. So God wants to partner with us, right? It's not like, well, I'm believing God for it. No. God's going to meet us where our action is.
That's right. There's a question. Regina wants to know, who are some of your mentors?
Woo! Well, the great news is there is a big difference between mentors and sponsors. Mentors are somebody that you ask for advice, and a sponsor is somebody who puts their name on the line and says, Chelsea is ready for this opportunity. I have a lot more sponsors than I do have mentors, so I'm probably not going to be good at answering the mentor one, Regina, but please hit me up offline if you want to talk more about that. Some of my sponsors are Deb Elam and Paula Madison, who are here. I think Bishop, this is absolutely an act of sponsorship, her seeing something in a younger person and bringing them along. And I think that many of our mentors are here in the room with us, and we thank them for that.
Mm-hmm. And there is a difference between the mentor and the sponsor and the coach.
Yes.
So some people don't really understand the difference between counseling and coaching. You want to help make us wise about that?
Yes, absolutely. So a coach is somebody who has vision, who can see ahead of you, and who can give you very specific action items to take to get you where you want to go. So the coaching part is giving you homework assignments to get there. A mentor is not going to give you homework assignments to get there. A sponsor is not going to give you homework assignments. They're going to go in the room and say, hey, Faith is ready for this opportunity. Choose her. So that's the difference between a mentor, a sponsor, and a coach.
Right. Mentors will tell you, this is what I know, and this is how it worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go into the board of directors and say, hey, go get Chelsea. That's get right. All right. Yay. Listen, this time has gone too fast. This is not fair.
The chat are saying they're writing with both hands. We bless you all. Bishop, I want to thank you for having this. This has been one of the highlights of my entire life. I love you. I can't wait to see you again in person.
Love you back. And you must come back to Selah. Come on, ladies, share up in the chat. Thank Chelsea for sharing with us. She did, and she's good to her word. We have to learn how to ask for help when you don't know something. And I picked up the phone. I said, Chelsea, I'm looking at something, and I don't know about this, and I don't know about this. And Chelsea said, hey, this is what you need to do. I said, thank you, Chelsea. Ask for help when you need help. Expand your circle to include people who are smarter and brighter than you. Yes. You don't have to be the brightest bulb on the tree. but you should include bright bulbs that you can go ask questions to be a part of your accountability team. Chelsea tells us to take risk. Influence is not about how much power you have, but how many people that you can empower. All of this is just absolutely good stuff. Thank you. Oh, hey, Carla. Thank you for being in the room. Carla presented at Selah twice, I think, already. And thank you for being in the room. Thank all of you for being here. We want you to come back in 2 weeks and join us again for another great Selah. Follow Chelsea. She's all in the social media area. You can follow. We want y'all to know who she is and support her in her work as well. Don't forget, as we move towards the fall season, we're going to have another private Zoom. Private Zoom means we can see each other, we can talk to each other all at the same time. So it's not so much about presentation, but it's about interaction and dialogue. So if you join right now, JOIN, it means join the Selah online VIP group. Come on into the room because we have conversations on a regular basis, and you know when there is a live event. If you like the Selah Leadership Encounter page, then you'll also get opportunity to see what is going on. Don't forget the Cash App or Givelify. Come and support the ministry so we can do even more things, even broaden our aspects of opportunities to resource you. You know that I love you. I love you to life. Come back and see us next time. Selah, now that you know, go out and slay. You are change agents. Come on, let's change the world together. God bless you. See you next time.